We're live. Marcy, we're live.
Hi, Liz. It's so fun to be live with you.
Oh my God, it's so fun to see you again. I was just telling Marcy, she is like one of my favorite people. She has become one of my favorite people. All right, so here's the official introduction to the amazing Marci Shimoff. She is a #1 New York Times best-selling author, world-renowned transformational teacher, and an expert on happiness, success, and unconditional love. And her books include the New York Times #1 Happy for No Reason, Love for No Reason, and 6 titles in the phenomenally successful Chicken Soup for the Woman's Soul series. And her books have sold more than 16 million copies. 16 million copies. Think about that. 16 million copies around the globe, Marcy. That's just crazy fabulous. And they have been translated into 33 languages. I didn't even know there were more than 3 languages in the world. So there you go, 33. And they've all topped the bestseller list. So it is such an honor. Marcy also did a PBS special called Happy for No Reason, and she's a featured teacher in The Secret and is a narrator for the award-winning film Happy. And so, Marcy, your book, and I also want to talk that you co-lead a worldwide program called Your Year of Miracles with thousands of participants from 72 countries. So everybody, let's welcome Marci Shimoff.
Yay! Thank you, Liz. And hi, everybody. It's great to be here with you all.
And if you're here watching, please make sure and say hi in the comments. Just say, hey, where are you watching from? How you're doing today on what I call Freak Out Fun Friday, right? And we all know why I call it Freak Out Friday, because I have to get done everything on Friday that I didn't get done the week before. And we are talking about this amazing book today. This was the February Celebrate Your Life book of the month. And I know that many of you have been reading it. Make sure and pop in there and say, hey, I've read it. It's so fabulous. So Happy for No Reason, 7 Steps to Being Happy from the Inside Out. And I have to tell you, I love this book, Marcy. This is amazing. This is, this is not just a book. This is a guide. This is that step-by-step guide. And one of my most favorite things that you wrote in this book is we're always looking externally for things to make us happy. And really it comes from the inside out. It really comes from the inside out. And I would love my first question for you. And for those of you that have questions, you've read the book, maybe you haven't finished the book, but I know that all of you have the book. Go ahead and put any questions you have in the comments. I'll keep an eye on the comments as well. But I would really love to know, like, what really inspired you to start writing this book?
Yeah. So what inspired me is the fact that I was born depressed. And, you know, I'll just share a little bit of the story, even though it's in the book. I'll share it again because I think it speaks very much to why I did this. You know, I was born depressed, had great parents. Everything in my life was great. I should have been happy, right? But I wasn't. I felt like I had this dark cloud around me. I think I was a major empath. I imagine that a lot of people who are listening today can relate. And I was picking up kind of the stress of the world. I also feel like I probably came into this life with some, ancestral trauma. And so anyway, I was this unhappy kid. And my solution to unhappiness was sugar, which is not a great solution to unhappiness. It works for a little short time. Right. But by the time I was in high school, that little solution caused me to be about 35 pounds overweight. So that did not help to add to my happiness. And so I was unhappy throughout my childhood and teen years. And so in my 20s, I decided I'm going to get happy. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to set these goals for myself. And once I get these goals, that's it. I'll be happy.
Right.
And I set
the external things out there.
The external things.
Get the boyfriend, the cheerleading thing, the perfect, right.
So here are my 5, because I think people can relate to these. I wanted a great, wonderful husband, a successful career helping people, fabulous friends, a comfortable home, and the equivalent of Halle Berry's body.
It's got to be Halle Berry's body. Okay.
Yeah, right.
I get
So
it.
I got 4 out of the 5. I don't have Halle Berry's body, but I have a healthy body for which I'm grateful. And I worked really, really hard to get all my ducks in a row so I'd have all those things so I'd be happy. And I had a turning point moment. It was in 1998, and I gave a speech to 8,000. I had 3 books at the same time on the top 5 on the New York Times list. And I had just given a speech to 8,000 women. And I had autographed 5,432 books. That my client had hired a massage therapist just to keep on, so I could keep on signing. And, I felt like an author rock star on one hand, but on the other hand, I went up to my hotel room, the suite that the clients had gotten for me after signing that last book. And I walked over to the window, looked at the beautiful view of Lake Michigan out the window. And I turned around and I fell on to the bed and burst into tears because I realized I got everything I thought I needed to be happy, and I'm still not. And I knew it was the end of the road for fooling myself into thinking that just the next external thing, just the next shiny object or whatever was going to work. And so it was at that moment, Liz, that I made a commitment to myself. I said, that's it. I'm going to find out what it takes to be happy, and I fortunately had the opportunity to take time and do the research. I met a whole bunch of researchers in the field of happiness. It was when the field of positive psychology was just really getting big, and I was interviewing them, and I interviewed 100 unconditionally happy people. I found out what they were doing. I started doing it myself, and it worked. And when I saw that it worked, which I really thought was a miracle, I didn't think I was going to be happy in this life. I just didn't think that was going to happen. And it started, and it worked. And I went, oh my God, this is amazing. I have got to share this with people because I know I'm not the only one in the world that's unhappy. And so that's why I wrote Happy for No Reason. It was such a like freedom revelation for me that I could actually be happy.
I have to show it every time. Happy for no reason.
and Liz, I'm going to be really honest. Back then, if you were giving me a grade in happiness, I would get a D+. Now I am a solid A. And that doesn't mean I'm not a work in progress. I am a work in progress. I am always working on myself, and anybody around me will attest to that. But it's no matter what's going on, I'm a solid A. And that's not to brag about it. It's to say it's possible. It's really possible for anybody.
And what do you think, like the other thing that you talk about in the book, which I love, is we're talking about the Celebrate Your Life Book of the Month with best-selling author Marci Shimoff. Okay, for those of you just joining us, we're talking to Marci Shimoff. This is it's just a fantastic book. It's a guidebook. I believe it's just a phenomenal guidebook. So what do you feel is like those 3 most important components? No, I know what I was going to say. What I love that you wrote is that you can still be sad and in grief and upset and still be happy. Can you explain that concept? Because I didn't get it in the book.
Yeah. So people have this mistaken belief that when I talk about being happy for no reason, that you're walking around 24/7 with a silly grin on your face, la, 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 and you're in some Pollyanna state of denial.
Right.
That is not what I mean. What I mean by happy for no reason is that you have this inner state of peace and well-being that doesn't depend on your circumstances. Life goes on. Things happen. People die. If somebody dies, you're going to most likely feel grief. It's natural. Things happen. You might feel upset. You might get angry. You might feel frustrated. That's okay. It's that in the midst of whatever's going on in life, you still have this kind of silent backdrop of peace and well-being that stays with you even in the midst of life's ups and downs. And what that does is it allows you to show up in a way that's more resilient, more effective, more creative. You bounce back more quickly. The pandemic happens and okay, this is inconvenient. Okay, this isn't feel good. Okay, my life is changed, but I'm okay. That's the difference. It's like when you're happy for no reason, you don't look for life. You don't look to extract your happiness from life. You bring who you are, that state of peace and well-being, to your life circumstances.
Wow. I know that you've got 7 steps in
I do.
here, right? To being happy from the inside out. And that's the subtitle of the book. So what I'm hearing a lot lately are people are unglued anxiety, that there's just a heavy thread of anxiety and anxiousness.
Right.
What steps can people take right now in their lives to sort of calm that anxiety down and really connect with that inner peace within themselves?
So it's such a fabulous question. And yes, I'm seeing, that everywhere.
Lots of fear and anxiety for no reason. Like I know some people that just have no idea why they are.
Yeah.
Right?
So that's what we call, instead of happy for no reason, it's unhappy for no reason. Yeah.
Anxiety.
Anxiety.
Right?
It's
Really understand it. Okay.
It's free floating anxiety for no reason. And here's the real kind of discovery that I've seen is that what's going to work for you is not the same thing that's going to work for me.
Mm-hmm.
We're very individual in this. It's just like, I don't think one food diet fits all. I don't think one happiness prescription fits everybody. And that's why, I say there's 7 steps to being happy for no reason. And what I found is that all of the habits that I saw happy people having, they fit in under these 7 main categories. And what I ask people to do or suggest that people do is that you go through these and see, where am I the weakest? And that is probably where you need to start with raising your happiness level. And I'll just go through these again, and maybe people can mention in the comments, where do you feel like you're the weakest? So the 7 areas there, I created this, the inner home for happiness. You build your inner home for happiness, the analogy, the metaphor. And you've got a foundation for any home and 4 corner pillars in the roof and the garden. And just to remind you, if you haven't gotten through the book, the foundation is taking responsibility for your happiness, not showing up as a victim in life. Blaming, shaming, and complaining are victim behaviors. Then there's the pillar of the mind, the body, the heart, the soul. The mind is your thoughts. What are your thoughts doing? Are they robbing you of your happiness? The body is your biochemistry. Do you have the biochemistry of happiness, the endorphins, the serotonin, the oxytocin, the GABA, all those good guys?
Yeah, I love that chapter 6.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. Woo! And then there's the pillar of the heart. That are you living with an open heart? Do you have forgiveness, loving kindness, generosity, all of that? And the pillar of the soul, do you feel connected to spirit, to a bigger energy in life? And then there's the roof. The roof of your home for happiness is your purpose or passion in life. Are you living an inspired life, what you feel you're on the planet to do? And then finally, there's the garden. Who are you surrounded with? Are you surrounded with people who uplift you and inspire you, the roses and gardenias? Or are you surrounded by the weeds, the toxic people? So look at that and see, where are you the weakest? Because you're only going to be as happy as your weakest link. So if you're going through a time of anxiety, you look to your weakest area, and that's what you strengthen first. And so I'll tell you, my weakest area is the body. And anytime that I start to feel a little spiraling down in any way, I immediately start upping my game on my exercise, sleep, my nutrition, because that's where I'm going to be hit the most. You're hit in your weakest area, and that's where you want to strengthen. So maybe
you know where your weakest area is. And if those of you know your weakest area, let's see it in the comments. Yeah. Oh, I love somebody. She wrote, yes, shit still happens, but we still have the power to be happy in spite of the shit. Yes, exactly. So Varashka shared that I find that being 24/7 is tiring. Experiencing the 4 seasons of emotional treadmill each day. Don't get it most of the time. Yes. Yes. So how do you really tune into which pillar? Salima said garden.
Yeah, I think that most people, if I say those 7 areas, they go, oh yeah, my thoughts are the things that really get to me. Those really bring me down. Or, some people can say, yeah, it's the people in my life that are really the problem. Or some people, you just know, look, I'm not living my purpose in life. I'm not inspired. So I think that we can self-assess on that. And actually, in the book, there is an assessment, and it's designed by type of area that you're the weakest in, so you can see where are you giving the lowest answers. So Liz, do you have a sense for you of where you're the weakest?
Oh my goodness. Oh, I don't know. I feel like they're all
okay. Okay, you're living an inspired life, I think. That's not a week for you, is that right?
Yes, exactly.
How about the people around you? Do you feel like you got people around you who are?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. How about feeling connected to spirit? Do you feel like you've got?
There you go. There you go.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Okay. So if that's your area of weakness, that's where you need to probably dedicate a little bit of time every day to doing what it is for you that helps you feel connected to spirit. You know, for some people, it's walking in nature. For other people, it's doing a silent meditation. For some people, it's maybe chanting or whatever it is that puts you in that vibe of being connected to not your personality self, but your soulful self of, you know, who I'm part of this life.
Right. Force. And Linda and Salima both shared that it's the people around them.
And that's a tricky one. You know, when it's the people around you, it's one of two things or both. One is you've got people around you who are really negative and you feel like you have to spend some of your life energy kind of dealing with a lot of negativity. And people, we catch the emotions of the people around us like we catch their colds. You know, it's called emotional contagion. So if you're around a lot of negative people, it's like you're taking, the equivalent would be that you're eating really bad food and putting it in your body. You're eating some really, you're allowing in some negative vibes from people around you. So that's one aspect. The other aspect of the garden is maybe you don't have a lot of negative people around you, but you don't have a lot of people around you who are cheering for you and supporting you, who you feel are soul brothers and sisters. So you might need to address it from both levels. You might need to say, okay, how do I create more boundaries with the negativity? It may not be that you're going to get rid of those people. You know, they could be your spouse or your children, or, you know, so you're not going to get rid of the negative people, but you can create boundaries. You can teach them, you know, Dr. Phil says you teach people how to treat you. Well, you teach people, you train people that you don't want to be around, that, you know, you have a limit as to how much complaining, for example, they do. So if you're around negative people and they're complainers, you just say, look, I really feel for you. And I'm not able to listen to more than about 3 minutes of this before it really drags me down. So, you know, you're not making them wrong. You're just saying what your needs are. You're creating more boundaries. Perhaps you're saying no if they want to spend some more time with you. Maybe it's you going, nope, that's not going to serve me. So I'm going to say no more often. Right. But then it's also seeking out those people that are your soul tribe, that you feel are the people that really, they uplift you, they inspire you. And it means friends in your life, but it also means, you know, you're part of this community, the Celebrate Your Life community. So being enriched by the other ways in which you have community and tribe.
Right. And going to those places that support you rather than just your energy.
That's right.
Yes. No supportive people is what Salim is saying. Well, then we need to find you another group of people to connect
and there
with.
are great ways of doing it. I mean, you know, the Celebrate Your Life community, I teach
your community as well.
I teach a year-long program called Your Year of Miracles, and everybody gets to be in a miracles group of 4 to 7 people. And their whole intention throughout the year is to support you in your intentions. And people have made lifelong friends. So there are so many ways to create community. And, you know, even in your own town, I know during COVID, it's harder for sure. But I'd say have that as an intention and be open.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that. Okay, so I was going to ask you, what do you think are like the 3 most important steps? I know we've got 7, but if you were just to like encapsulate it for people, like in reading the book, what do you think if somebody was to do just, let's go 2 things.
Okay.
Shift things for them right now. What would those 2 things be? You can't choose 2. Okay.
Well, it's so hard because they're different for different people. But I will say there are 2 fast tracks to happiness.
Okay.
And one of them is around our thoughts and gratitude. Our thoughts. Let's just go to our thoughts, because the average person has 60,000 thoughts a day, and 80% of those are negative. So if you find yourself strong, going over and over again, a bunch of negative thoughts, you're not alone. Don't beat yourself up for it. It's, like that's adding insult to injury. So yeah, it's called the negativity bias.
Right.
And it's what we inherited from our cavemen ancestors. So it's natural. Rick Hansen calls it the Velcro Teflon syndrome. Our minds are like Velcro for the negative. They just stick to us, and Teflon for the positive. They just slide off of us. You get 10 compliments in a day and 1 criticism. What are you going to remember at the end of the day? The criticism for most people. So we need to establish those positive neural pathways in the brain. And that is one of the things. And one of the ways you do it is by, actually there's 3 steps. You look for the good, pretend that you're in the book, I talk about a woman who's the Academy Awards committee. She pretends she's the Academy Awards committee, and she's looking for the good. Look for it. What are you grateful for? And that's gratitude. What do you feel? And it could be anything. I mean, right now I'm grateful that I'm doing celery juice these days. And I'm grateful that I have fresh celery juice. It's yummy. I'm grateful that I get to be here with you. In any moment, we could all find 10 things to be grateful for. Truly.
It's true.
So it's just look for the good. The second thing is savor it. Don't just notice it, but for positive experiences to become new neural pathways in the brain, we have to savor it for at least 20 seconds. So just really savor that. The negatives stick much more quickly. The positives, because we haven't created as much depth of the neural pathways in the brain for the positives, it takes longer for them to establish. And that's why they say 20 seconds. If you're seeing a beautiful sunset, be with it. Let it really land in you rather than just go, oh, that's pretty, and then walk away. Really 20 seconds. And then the third thing is go for a 3-to-1 ratio, 3 positives to any 1 negative. So you're quickly replacing those as soon as you notice them.
So you shift your thoughts first. So you only choose thoughts that do serve you rather than thoughts that don't serve you. Because I've noticed when I do that exercise that when my thoughts are thoughts that do serve me, from reading your book, then I shift into, then my feelings change.
Yeah.
The feelings change.
Yeah. And it's a habit. It takes time, and we just do it time after time. We shift. And it's not the big thing, as I said, people get upset that they have the thoughts. No, I shouldn't be thinking these negative thoughts. No, stop judging yourself for a thought that was automatic, that just showed up. They just show up. They're automatic. Once you notice it, that's where you have the choice to select anew, to shift your attention. All you're doing is slightly shifting your attention from what isn't serving you to what does serve you.
Yes. And then it shifts feelings inside.
Exactly.
And just neural pathways, right?
That's right.
Oh, I love that. So did you all get that? Being so hyper vigilant and cognizant, maybe vigilant isn't the right word, but so cognizant of your thoughts.
Being a witness.
That's where the anxiety, I believe, for me at least, and sometimes it's so unconscious.
Yes. And here's the thing. Notice that you're noticing your thoughts. So notice what thought you're having right now. The very fact that you're noticing that thought means you are not that thought. You are a witness to that thought. The thought just shows up. It's there. And as a witness to that thought, you have the ability to consciously choose another thought. You aren't your thoughts. You are the silent witness behind the thoughts, and you can choose anew.
And how do you know? So I don't know if you have the answer to this question or not, but I think you're in chapter 6. This might answer the question. So I want to jump back to anxiety for a second, because someone I really care about has been struggling with this a great deal. But how do you know if it's a chemical imbalance, or how do you really know if it's a mental
thing.
Right.
And those two play into each other. So, they're so intertwined. our mental imbalances create physical imbalances, and our physical imbalances create mental imbalances. So it really is both. But what I find is if you're low, for example, in serotonin is considered the one of the main happiness chemicals. And if you're low in serotonin, it's really hard to keep the thoughts positive. So what I would say is, and in that chapter, I think it was chapter 6, we have that quiz that's the mood type questionnaire. Take that and see what you're low in. I was very low in serotonin. And so I did some things that helped my serotonin. Now I'm not going to give you a prescription for everybody because there isn't one. But for me, I needed more I needed more tryptophan. I started taking tryptophan and it helped. I don't need it any longer, but it helped boost. Also, you can take 5-HTP. So that's good for some people. The other thing that I love that's so good, really, I might have learned this after Happy for No Reason. It might not even be in Happy for No Reason. Can't remember. It's called the sunning meditation. Did I share that in Happy for No Reason? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah.
Okay. This, let me tell you, is one of my favorites ever. I learned this from a Chi Nitsang master. Chi Nitsang is a sort of form of, I think, Qigong. I think it derives from the same, I don't even know. I think it derives from the same family. But Chi Nitsang has to do with a stomach massage, that helps your whole, they call your intestines the second brain because that is also a very big part of our health and happiness and our thoughts. So anyway, Gilles Marin taught me this. And he said that doing this one exercise for a week or 2 will completely shift your serotonin. And serotonin is also what is connected to producing melatonin. Melatonin helps us sleep. The better we sleep, the happier we are, the more serotonin we have. And the more serotonin we have, the better we sleep, meaning the more melatonin we have. So it's this cycle. So if you have any hard time sleeping, or if you have any hard time being happier, you want to do this exercise. Just practice it. And what you do is you go out into the sun. If you can't go outside, you can do it from inside through a window, but it's better if you can go outside. And I'll tell you in a minute what to do if there's no sun. But if there is sun, you want to go out and close your eyes. Super important. Do not do this with your eyes open. Close your eyes and face the sun with your eyes closed, allowing the sun to come in through your closed eyes, and imagine it coming in through your eyes and going into the center of your head where your pineal gland is. And allow the warmth of the sun and the rays of the sun to stimulate your pineal gland. And you do this for a couple of minutes. And then you allow also, during those couple of minutes, you allow it to wash into your brain, wash into the pineal gland, and you can have it go down to all of your, to your thyroid, to your thymus. Your thymus here is what stimulates the immune system, to your adrenals in the back. Adrenals is where many of us our adrenals are burned out when we're overstressed, overtired. And just have it really wash through your. You can have it go to the ovaries if you're a woman. To just the whole hormonal system, allowing the sun to just feed that. And what that does is a couple of minutes of that twice a day will really reset the serotonin. And as I say, that will help your sleep as well. And I want to talk for a moment to people about sleep. They say that the quality of the sleep that you got last night has a greater impact on your happiness level today than your marital status or your income level. The quality of your sleep. And most people don't sleep deeply in a refreshed way. So I'm going to give you 2 hints for great sleep. One is to produce more melatonin, you want to be in darkness. So you don't want to have, if you can, you have shades go down. You don't have extra lights or things on around you. You want the room to be as dark as possible. If you can't get the room dark, you might want to try a darkening shade all around your eyes. You don't want to have electronics going on near you. Like you don't want your cell phone to be right near your bed.
Right.
Have it be in the other room if you can. And take a couple of, ideally, you don't want to be on your electronics, anything with the blue light for a couple of hours before you go to sleep. So that's one thing about sleep. But the other thing about sleep, I learned from Ayurveda. And according to Ayurveda, which is the healing system of India, 5,000-year healing system, according to Ayurveda, we have these rhythms, these cycles, and in our circadian cycles in our body. And the time that you go to sleep is really important. They suggest that you go to sleep by 10. Every hour of sleep that you get before midnight is worth twice as much sleep as what you get after midnight. The biggest hours of rejuvenation for the body are between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. So you want to get those. I talk about catching the 10 p.m. angel train. Just imagine that you're catching that train. You got to get the 10 p.m. angel train with the angels. If you don't catch the 10 o'clock, catch the 10:30. And if you don't catch the 10:30, catch the 11. But don't try 10 o'clock 3 nights in a row and see how you feel on the fourth day.
I can't believe you said that. Everything you're saying, my husband Jeff has been doing. Like he goes out into the sun and he just stands there. And then,
wow.
Well, he's a holistic practitioner, but he's been saying this to me forever. And then he goes to bed at 10 o'clock every single night. And I'm the one that stays up late. So now he's going to be very shocked when I actually go to bed at 10.
Good.
Good.
Well, praises to your husband for being so wise and clear.
He just gets it. Okay, so I'm going to read something that Bill Van Horn wrote here.
Okay.
And he has a question for you. Do you have any thoughts on the importance of happiness in making life transitions such as career changes? He shares that he's moved from finance and wants to find something more conducive to soul growth, health, and contribute to society. I understand happiness must be the key component in choosing what to do next, but wonder how much weight I should put on happiness while deciding what to do next. That's a great question, Bill.
That's a great question, Bill. All right. So I'm just going to say it like I believe it. I mean, I do believe it. I'm going to say what I deeply believe. And that is, Bill, you are put on the planet for a reason. It is not an accident that you are here. And there is something that your soul is calling you to. Now, it changes throughout our lifetime. In Happy for No Reason, I talk about my dad, the dentist who retired and took up needlepoint. So what I recommend that you do, Bill, is that you really deeply honor and follow what would make you feel most alive and happy. That's what you're here to do. When you do what you're here to do, everything falls into place around it. I believe that deeply. So I honor that you're saying no to the career that isn't working or that didn't make you happy. And I know it's the opening to saying yes to what will. And I'll share with you an experience from my own life that I know is not in Happy for No Reason because it happened after Happy for No Reason was written. In 2013, I took a course from a woman that I adore. And Lynn, you might know her. Liz, you might know her. Her name is Lynn Twist. Do you know Lynn Twist?
Oh, yeah, I know Lynn Twist.
Okay.
I don't know her, but yes, I know. Okay.
Lynn Twist wrote a book called The Soul of Money. And I was taking a 9-month money course with her. And I had a coach. And I made a commitment to my coach that I was no longer going to do any work that I hated. That I was only going to really do work that just was, saying to me. Not that there wouldn't be challenges in that work, not that it wouldn't be hard or scary, but that it was something that I really wanted that I felt really good, aligned with. And no sooner did I make that commitment than I got challenged. I got tested. I got an email from a client that I'd worked with in China offering me a $500,000 contract to go teach in China over the next year. And I'd have to make lots and lots of trips to China. And at that point, I no longer wanted to really travel that much. I didn't want to be on the road that much. I certainly didn't want to be that long in a country where I was being translated all the time. It's a lot harder. And it just didn't sing to me. My heart just sank, but it was a $500,000 contract. Mm-hmm. But I had just made this commitment to my coach. So I turned it down. It was one of the scariest things I've ever done. I said no. And I thought, okay, what's going to show up next? And there's this concept, nature abhors a vacuum. So when you say no to something else is likely to come and take its place. Sure enough, about a week later, I was standing in my kitchen making lunch, and my assistant, Kim, came in. We would make lunch together. And she said to me, so-and-so is doing this mentoring program. And I went, mentoring? Oh my God, that's what I'm supposed to do next. At that point, my whole career was just speaking and writing books. Mm-hmm. Mentoring. I said, I don't even know what it means, but I want to do this. And it was just this light bulb. And then we sat through lunch and I said, what could I mentor people in? And I thought, I'm living a miraculous life. Mm-hmm. I have miracles showing up every day in my life. I think there's a formula for living a miraculous life. I'm going to teach people how to live a miraculous life. And I said to her, how many people should I mentor in this? And I asked her to help me, and we decided, 8 people. We'll put this out and I'll mentor 8 people. So we put out an email for this. I do one-on-one mentoring with 8 people, and we got 1,200 people applying.
Wow.
And I realized, oh my God, people want this. I love it. I practiced with the 8 people. I got it. And then I opened it up the next year to doing a whole big group. And we now have 5,200 people from 87 countries.
Oh, and that's your year of miracles. Your year of miracles.
So okay. Bill, I tell you that because I know that when you say no to one thing, when you will find the other thing that comes to you. And it's a matter of following the breadcrumbs. Where do they lead you? You might not know the final picture of it, but follow the breadcrumbs today. What are the signs about what it is that you feel passionate about? And you keep us posted.
Yes. Did you get that, Bill?
Bill, I want to know in the chat here in the comments, what is it that makes you feel alive? Yeah. I know you said something more soul growth, health, and contribution to society. Oh,
right. Awesome. That resonates, okay, Marcy.
We're going to want to hear where you land on this.
And Bill comes to so many of our Celebrate Your Life retreats and brings such joy and such, he just brings himself to his presence. Right. And I'm just wondering, as we're talking, Bill, I have an idea. I'll touch base with you on this idea that just popped into my head because of your skill set of what you did do, and then teaching people that through a more heart space place.
And I want to go back. Giovanna wrote, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that.
Giovanna. Here we go.
Giovanna. Yeah, how you can find out about what is Chinit Sung. And she does the sun gazing almost every day. She does it with eyes open. Now that's different than what I'm sharing. What I'm sharing is called the sunning meditation. And the guy who I learned it from is named Gilles, Gilles Marin, Marin. Gilles Marin.
I'm going to put this in the chat. So the sunning meditation by, I'm sorry, spell the name again.
Gilles.
Gilles. Okay, got it.
Gilles, Gilles Marin, and it's called the sunning meditation.
Sunning meditation. Okay, so it's by Gilles Marin.
Yeah, you got it.
Got it. The sunning meditation. I just posted it. For some of you can see that, but if you're in one of the groups, you won't be able to see that. But it's the sunning meditation. Okay, and just Google that. I'm sure you'll find it. That's fantastic. Oh, that's great. So you've interviewed wait a second. So Varashka asked, this makes so much sense. When I practice what I love and am exhausted in an awesome way. I sleep like a baby. Yeah. Doing what I don't love, I am drained and don't sleep well. Any connection to building serotonin levels by any chance?
Yeah, that's such a great question, Varashka. When you're doing what you love builds serotonin. Anything that feels good is helping build serotonin. And so that's why you're sleeping better when you have a day after a day that's been fulfilling doing what you love. Whereas when you work the same amount of work, but it's towards something you don't love, you feel drained. And that is exactly the reason for that. I realize I forgot to say the one thing to do if about the sunning meditation, if you're in a place where you can't have sun, where there is no sun.
Yeah.
Even if it's shining through the clouds, it's okay. But if there's really no sun or it's raining or whatever, put your focus on something of nature. Nature, the beauty of nature. That one would be eyes opened. So your eyes opened, you're looking at a beautiful tree or the mountains or a flower. I have flowers behind me and I can just stare at a beautiful flower. Nature will help produce more serotonin as well. So that's your solution if you don't have sun.
Well, you're in California, and we know that the sun always shines in Southern California.
I'm in Northern, though.
Or you're in Northern. Okay. All right. In Arizona, we get 360 days of sunshine.
So, Liz, you have no excuse for not doing the sunning meditation.
So I'm going to start doing the sunning meditation. Right. And anybody out there who's in Arizona, we have to do the sunning meditation.
That's right. That's
right. Out more information about that. Okay. So you have interviewed, I would say, maybe thousands of people on happiness.
Thousands now.
All right. What was the most exciting interview that you did? And what was the most exciting thing that you found out from all of those interviews and conversations that you discovered?
Wow. What's the most exciting conversation?
Oh, there's probably a lot of them.
There are so many that they're spinning. Let me tell you the most exciting research that I found, and then I'll think of one of the exciting.
I love the research.
Most exciting research I found out was the whole happiness set point thing. It explained my life to me, that we have this happiness set point and it's like a thermostat setting. And no matter what happens, good or bad, we'll tend to return to our thermostat setting unless we do something consciously to change it. And this explained why, I would have something happen that I was super excited about. I'd have a best-selling book. I'd be happy. It would last for a couple months. But then I'd return to my original happiness set point. And then I'd run out and do the next thing. You'd meet your, the love of your life. Oh yeah, that's great. Well, that lasts 6 months and then, reality hits and there it is. So it's the idea that wherever you are, wherever I go, there I am.
Right.
And so because of that, whatever you're focusing on, it's going to be your happiness set point is what you take with you wherever you go. And that's why it's so important for us to raise our happiness set point. That's why that's it for me. And we can all raise our happiness set point. So that was the most exciting piece of research. There's so many people that I met. One of them is just, oh God, I don't even remember his name. The happy guy in Jamaica.
Oh.
In Jamaica, Bermuda.
Okay.
The happy man in Bermuda. And every morning he would wake up and he would just go down to the corner and he'd wave his hands at everybody and say hello and greet them. And I love the idea of just sort of everyday people who have found deep happiness. And there's nothing special, sparkly in their life. I mean, I went to India and met people there that just are exquisitely happy, deeply exquisitely happy. They have so little compared to what we have. And I meet people all the time. I'm one of those people that just, goes up to people and meets them and has conversations. And I really find that I really see how happiness doesn't have anything to do with what's going on in the outside. It's just deeply happy people. They bring their happiness with them wherever they go. And it's just so inspiring to me. I'm thinking of somebody else. You go ahead, and then I want to tell you.
No. I just think it's really fascinating what you're sharing when you go, especially when you're in a country like India, and there's such, poverty, and people are so impoverished there, and yet you can meet these women that are just have this joy about them.
Yeah, and I want to share about a woman that I know. I'm on something called the Nobel Women's Initiative Philanthropy Circle. This is the Nobel Women's Initiative is 6 of the women Nobel Peace Prize winners. The Nobel Peace Prize has been given out for 115 years, and there's been like small contingent of them who have won the Nobel Peace Prize.
Right.
And so I've had the great honor of being able to travel with these women who are extraordinary. And I just want to, there are two of them that come to mind right now around happiness. One of them's name is Moraine Mcguire. Moraine was one of the women who helped bring together the warring factions in Ireland in the 70s. She's a mother. I believe it was she had nephews who were killed in the Troubles, they call it, in Ireland. And so she and another woman brought together all these women to create peace. And they won the Nobel Peace Prize, Betty Williams and Moraine Mcguire. And so these aren't people who are turning away from problems in life, but they're addressing deep problems. And she is a heart of gold, and deeply, like, this happiness exudes from this woman. And there's another woman on the Nobel who's won the Nobel Peace Prize named Tawakkol Karman. She helped with bring Arab Spring. She was from Yemen. She's now in exile and living outside of Yemen. It's not safe for her to live there. And even in the midst of these deep world challenges that they're addressing, there's this inner compassion and love that they bring forward, and a happiness. It's not happy because of what's happening. Of course, they're deeply upset about what's happening, but it's they bring their heart and happiness to this.
Have you ever met
Immaculée Ilibi-Gaza?
I can't even say her name. I love Immaculée.
I haven't met her in person, but I've spoken with her. Phenomenal.
She is unbelievable. So Immaculée, for those of you who don't know who she is, this is a woman who was a victim of the atrocities in Rwanda when they separated the Tutsi tribe and I can't remember the other. Hulus. That's right. And one tribe was going after another, and they were just slaughtering them in the streets. Well, she and I want to say 10 or 12 women ended up hiding in a bathroom for 90 to 120 days in a teeny tiny little bathroom. Her entire family was slaughtered. Her mother, her father, the brothers, everyone was killed. When she got out of this bathroom, she was in a bathroom, a little hidden bathroom. She said it was so tiny, you couldn't even believe it. And she has this amazing state of grace about her and forgiveness about her. I mean, she had to work on this, but this just amazing, peaceful, grace-filled energy about her. And I was like, she's been through this horrible atrocity, and yet she still found it in her heart to forgive, to be in gratitude. And Melinda, exactly. That's how you spell her name.
Yes. And Liz, I'm so glad you brought that up, because earlier you asked what are the two biggest things anybody can do.
Right.
One of them was gratitude. The other one is forgiveness. And really what I've seen is, like, there's another woman, Eva Kors, who's also one of my inspirations. And she was a Holocaust survivor. And like Immaculée, she found it in her heart to forgive. As long as we're carrying around resentment towards other people, it's that whole saying that if you don't forgive, it's like taking poison and expecting the other person to die. The only person that's hurt by us not forgiving is ourselves. So you don't do it for them. It's not condoning their behavior. It's doing it for your own peace of mind.
But how do you, this is the big question I've always had about this. How do you forgive without condoning?
Well, I think Nelson Mandela is a great example.
Oh, yes.
Nelson Mandela was in prison for 27 years.
Right.
And for the first 10 years, he was in anger, and then he said, I'm going to die just by my own feeling of resentment and anger. Mm-hmm. And so he started forgiving and loving. He started loving the prison guards and forgiving them. They didn't know what they were doing. My opinion is it's just a different level of consciousness. They just don't have the consciousness to know better. And what happened was, the prison guards that would beat him, they'd stop. They couldn't do it anymore. And do you know, by the time he got out of, by the time he was released and then made, was it prime minister or president or whatever, prime minister, he one of his prison guards became his bodyguard, was sitting at the front row of his inauguration. They all fell in love with him. So it's just, you shift inside your heart, and they may shift, they may not, but it's, you do it to free yourself. And it's not about condoning what they're doing. It doesn't have, they're not connected. Your forgiving doesn't mean that what they did was right. It means that you're releasing them so that you can go on to live your life of freedom, that what they're doing doesn't continue to harm you.
I love that. There's releasing them and releasing myself. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay,
and you know,
practice that.
The practice that I love doing for forgiveness, there's so many out there, but I love Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono is comes from the Kahuna Hawaiian tradition. And it's a simple practice of sending the message, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, to the person or situation that you want to forgive. And then also doing it towards yourself. And, you know, sometimes it takes days of doing this, day after day, but I've seen miracle upon miracle happen from Ho'oponopono. I was just in Hawaii. I just got back a couple days ago, actually. And I met with a kahuna shaman there, and I had a beautiful ceremony done for me. And I asked her, I said, you know, I'm not a kahuna shaman, but I do share the Ho'oponopono prayer. And is that okay? And she said, from her point of view, absolutely, spread the message of forgiveness and Ho'oponopono wherever you can. I got my fingers to still say it.
That's so beautiful. And Melinda wrote, to forgive, step above the situation, and while looking down at it, realize people often act only as they are capable. That's beautiful. Same thing with you, Barashka. Forgive them, for they do not know what they do. Such powerful words, there will never. That is just beautiful.
Yes.
And on that note, one more showing of the book, and then we're going to close for the day. But this is what we've been discussing. Marci Shimoff's Happy for No Reason, 7 Steps to Being Happy from the Inside Out. It's a phenomenal book. Phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal. And if you're interested in Marci's programs, Marci, your website is?
I have 2 websites. One is happyfornoreason.com. And here's what's really cool. Once a year, I train people to become Happy for No Reason certified trainers, to actually teach this stuff. And I do it only once a year. And it's starting in March, and we're opening it up in March to be interviewed. We'll take 200 people. So if you want to apply for that, go to happyfornoreason.com, and you can there's a free gift there, I believe, an ebook. And once you get that ebook, then you'll get the notification. We open up on Monday for interviewing for my Happy for No Reason trainer program. And then the other thing that I do is once a year, I do your Year of Miracles program. I believe registration is closed for this year, but you can go check and see. They might make exceptions. I don't know.
Excellent. Wonderful. So I posted your website. So make sure and check out Marci's website. And if you didn't get the book, which I believe all of you did, make sure and get this book. It is just absolutely fantastic.
And Liz, I have to, can I end with one closing word? And it's the closing words that I have in Happy for No Reason. And I always love to end with this, because people wonder if it's selfish and what about helping the world? And what I say is, being happier is the least selfish thing that you could possibly do. Because when you're happier, you're raising your own happiness set point. It affects everybody around you, and it ultimately affects the world. And so I leave you with this Chinese proverb that sums up why I am so passionate about all of us being happier. It goes like this: when there is light in the soul, there will be beauty in the person. When there is beauty in the person, there will be harmony in the house. When there is harmony in the house, there will be order in the nation. And when there is order in the nation, there will be peace in the world. And so my prayer and my wish for every single one of us is that we know that light in our own souls. We have that happiness in our own lives. And through that, we help create a better world.
Oh, that was beautiful. All right, everybody. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. And Marci, thank you so much for joining us. And sit tight right there, Marci. But we will see everyone next week. Mwah! Have a beautiful weekend.